Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I am Ryan Bowling. Thank you all for joining me. Ever since the Supreme Court justice have eradicated or overturned Roe v. Wade, well, even before then, even before this overturn of Roe v. Wade, the left has been going bat crazy. But ever since then, they have even gotten even more brazen in their attempts to mock conservative values. And what I'm referring to here is that in Seattle, there was a gay parade being conducted that was led by the Boy Scouts of America, and a group of cyclists were in the nude and being viewed by innocent children. So you have these cyclists riding around on these, bicycles, I guess, or motorcycles, mopeds, I don't know. They're riding around on these things nude, and there's young children watching this. Now you tell me, before I get into this article, how that is justified or even remotely healthy for young people. There's just no way to even justify that. I clearly see an attempt to corrupt the young people. But let's get into this article. Because this is just sick. And to be honest with you, those of us that are conservatives, or just people that may be Democrat, or maybe have some liberal, maybe you may have the liberal title, but you live a conservative lifestyle, you know deep within your heart that the radical left was not going to just let this go by. They was going to go crazy over this whole situation with the Roe v. Wade being overturned. There was no way. But let me read this. The article says, children watch nude cyclists at Boy Scout-led Seattle Pride Parade. So I'm looking at a picture right now. Before I even read it further, I'm looking at a picture, and you can see this picture for yourself if you type in www.breitbart.com and Google it. You will and Google it and look up the title of the article. You will see the picture of a group of children. It's maybe about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. About 13 or 14 young people in various ages. Some appear to be 8, 9, 10 years old, very young, holding American flags and gay flags, holding them up simultaneously. So I guess, clearly these are the Boy Scouts. I guess the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, a combination of both. I don't know. It's hard to really tell. Because I've never been, the Boy Scouts of America. I haven't been a part of that for like many, many, many years. I think I started off as a, what was it? I was like 5 or 6 years old. And you start off as a Weeblo Scout. I don't remember. I just don't remember. But you all that attend the Boy Scouts, you know what level you start off at. But clearly, this type of far leftist radical ideology have infiltrated the Boy Scouts. But let's go on. So the article says, children younger than 10 watch fully nude bikers at the Seattle Pride Parade, which was kicked off by the Boy Scouts of America. Though it is not clear what group the nude cyclists were representing, their purpose appeared to address body image, with one sign that read, quote, challenge body shame, build self-esteem, end quote. Both men and women were nude. Now, clearly it says challenge body shame, build self-esteem. What does that mean, challenge body shame? What are you talking about? By being in the nude and you seeing all these young people, young kids watching this stuff, and what motive do you have? What do you mean by challenge body shame? Someone define that for me. Challenge body shame. What do you mean body shame? What being in the nude and allowing young people to see you on bicycles riding around with your organs hanging out, your sexual organs hanging out? Is that challenging body shame? Build self-esteem? How are you building self-esteem? Self-esteem for who? Yourself or the children? If you're trying to build self-esteem for yourself, to me, in my opinion, that's low self-esteem. Because if you have to be in the nude, riding around on bicycles where you clearly know that there are young children around, that shows you have low self-esteem because you feel such a need to expose yourself before a bunch of young kids. You have a problem. You have a problem well nigh to I'm not going to say it on YouTube, but you got a problem. You have a serious problem. And that's low self-esteem, in my opinion. Not build self-esteem. You tearing down self-esteem. Your own and the self-esteem of those young people that's watching you. Let's go on in this article. This is just disgusting. Sick and disgusting, but I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. The article says the parade reportedly began with the Boy Scouts of America leading the proceedings as they carry both pride flags and American flags. Pro-abortion protesters, of course, they're going to be in there, challenging the recent Supreme Court ruling overturning Roe v. Wade, were also enthusiastically received. Of course, they're all think and act alike. Activist workers with Amazon also marched in the parade and challenged the company to remove, quote, transphobic books from its platform. Seattle police officers were reportedly barred from marching in the parade. So I don't know what that exactly means when they say Seattle police officers were reportedly barred from marching in the parade. I mean, what if one of the police officers were gay or whatever? I mean, he or she couldn't march in the parade, or what's the deal? I don't know. But clearly, that is an attempt to, in my opinion, to utterly corrupt the youth. There is no justification for anyone to be riding around in the nude, fully conscious, fully aware that there are children, young children, watching that. What do you think these children are going to think when they see that? What do you think they're going to think? What do you think they're going to feel? How are you building self-esteem? How are you challenging body form? What are you talking about? That's evil. There is no justification whatsoever other than the fact that there is a big attempt, well, I wouldn't say big attempt, but that's not a good word to use. I would say a massive attempt to utterly corrupt the children. Here's another thing. You see, what these radical liberals are trying to do is they're trying to brainwash and condition the young people and confuse them sexually. So for other nefarious reasons that I'm not going to get into here. But they're trying to brainwash and condition and weaken and confuse the sexuality of the youth so that once they reach the age of adulthood, they will vote. They will vote. My voice cracked. They will vote for radical liberals. You got to keep the radical thing going. You just can't get rid of it. They're losing ground. So this is their way of pushing back. You know, it's interesting that the radical left, instead of them pushing back with knowledge and understanding and factual data, what do? They push back with evil, sexually provocative stuff like this. This is their way of pushing back. To me, anyone that has eyes to see should be able to discern what the radical left is doing right here. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're liberal. You should be able to see, wait a minute now, instead of the people that I'm on the side of, to at least to some extent, in terms of my voting options, that this is way over the edge. That how come these people can't come up with some kind of rational, logical way to challenge the worldview of the conservatives? It used to be that way, according to one particular commentator said that many decades ago, prior to this, during the 60s and before then, but particularly during the 60s, at least the liberals at that time were articulate. They were basically well-spoken. And the way that they operated in a way where they could challenge the conservative worldview and at least get you to be like, you got a point there. Nowadays, it's almost like they're desperate. I won't even use the term almost. I'm going to say without a shadow of a doubt that the radical left is desperate, that the left period is desperate. They have been the destruction of this country then, and they are the utter destruction of this country now. And people are starting to see that. See, when you're desperate, you do and say anything. You do and say everything. You do and say anything. You're operating off of pure emotion when you're desperate. You're not thinking. You're not trying to analyze. You're not trying to reason. You're not trying to give proper information. You simply are reacting. You got to do something. And whatever that something is, you're going to do it. And if you have to ride around on bicycles naked, you're going to do it. Doesn't matter if you got kids around. Doesn't matter if you got little babies around. Doesn't matter if it corrupts them, because that's the goal after all, is to corrupt the minds of the youth, to confuse them. Doesn't matter. You have an agenda that you have to push. You're well paid. You're well financed. You have nothing else to do but to do this. In the city of Cleveland, we have ever since Roe v. Wade was overturned, as a security officer at Tower City Security and Bike Patrol, we've been dealing with protests all day and all night. Police cars zooming out of nowhere. I'm like, where's all these police cars coming from? What's going on now? Oh, it's another protest. Oh, man, come on. 10 o'clock at night. 10 o'clock at night. Still protesting. To show you how dark-hearted these liberals are. How they just don't care. The other day, there's this place called Public Square. Beautiful place where the wrong people sit around there now. We got all these knucklehead, ghetto-minded people that sit there now, robbing people and drinking and sleeping and pooping all over everything. But that's another story, and I digress. You had this group of maybe, I don't know, close to 100 protesters angry about this Roe v. Wade being overturned. So they're all sitting on the opposite end of, there's this pool right in the middle where young people, little kids, 5, 6, 7 years old, running around their bathing suits. They're just having fun, splashing in the water, little pond and stuff, having fun, having fun out in the sun. And what do you do? What do you have? You have these protesters right across from them. I mean, like literally on Public Square. The only thing that separated the young people from these protesters was some tables that people can sit and just eat and talk. And they're on a bullhorn, hooping and hollering and cussing and saying, F this person and F that person and F the judges and F the Supreme Court justice, with these kids just sitting around looking like, what's going on here? Sick and disgusting. Now you tell me how that's justified. You so upset and so angry and so full of rage and hate that you're willing to cuss and mock the Supreme Court in the front of all these kids because you want the right to kill your child. You tell me that's justified. You tell me that. I'll wait. And yes, I get passionate about this because it's evil and it's demonic. And Judgment Day is waiting for those people if they don't get right. If they don't get right, Judgment Day is waiting for them. This is evil and it needs to stop. And it needs to be exposed. Enough is enough. Grow up. Get a job. Get an education. You're off. You're demented. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. I know I'm going on. But this is just sick. This is just sick. I don't see how anybody can support this. In my opinion, I don't see how anybody can support it. But what do you guys think about this situation? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel. God bless you all, and see you again on another Black Conservative.